Alright, so in this video, we're going to talk about the evil console, the vile console, and don't give me the whole, oh, but consoles aren't inherently evil or good, it's how you use. I don't care. I don't care. The Switch 2 is a vile console because it was born evil, it was born broken, because Nintendo made it so.
Oh yeah.
Every system that can brick itself on a whim or ban you and deny access to gaming and to your own digital purchases over some kind of nonsense, such as suspecting that you might have done something wrong, and tech support that doesn't immediately remove this ban, is an evil system made by a very evil company. And that right there is what the Switch 2 is. I will buy a Switch 2 if Nintendo completely changes their policy and they don't ban anybody. And if they do ban people, they don't take away the ability to purchase digital games or to play the games you've already purchased. You just won't be able to play online. I will also buy a Switch 2 if the system gets hacked so that banned consoles can be reversed or unbanned or just made functional. Now let me explain to the people who are gonna say, oh, but you can just call Nintendo support and they're gonna fix it for you. Why are you complaining? Well, let me tell you how things work in the real world, my first world friend. In the real world, where Nintendo doesn't have support, they don't care even if you call support numbers for first world countries that do. They're just going to tell you, we don't support your region. There is nothing we can do about you. And that's the end of that. So if you got banned, even though you did nothing wrong, you didn't pirate anything, you didn't have an offensive username, you did nothing wrong, maybe you played a used game, or maybe Nintendo just flagged you because they thought that you were doing something wrong because maybe your IP is weird, who knows, your system is going to be a brick. We just paid as much as many people make in an entire month in my country to buy a console, and 1/5 of that to buy a video game, and the system gets banned because something weird happened and Nintendo suspects that we are pirating, or that who knows what they suspect. And even if people pirate, so what? They just bought a system that costs hundreds upon hundreds of euros or dollars, and you're destroying that system because you suspect that somebody is pirating. Man, people have been pirating for your systems since the very beginning. I have bootleg Game & Watches right here from Soviet times. I have Famiclones, which were more popular than the actual NES. I have bootleg SNES games which were sold in my country alongside the original ones, and the original ones were imports. They were not actually officially released here. So let me tell you something, you garbage insane company. Why are you so afraid of piracy when in the first world where you operate, people are so brainwashed by corporations? They're such corporate shills, so that if you tell them don't pirate, it's immoral, people for the most part are not going to pirate. They don't know how to pirate. They cannot pirate. You're not losing billions and billions of dollars on piracy. You're just punishing people who are just trying to play their video games legally. Nobody is going to go out of their way to pirate in this day and age. People can barely operate computers anymore because they became absolutely... Oh boy, I was about to use a slur, so let me just rephrase that. Because they became absolutely dumb or stupid, not what I was about to say, due to smartphones. That's right, people can barely use technology, they can barely use computers anymore. They don't know the basics of how to navigate computers, they don't know the basics of how to sort files and folders. And you expect people to be pirating on the Switch? Only a select few are going to pirate. You're not going to lose anything. People have been pirating for your garbage systems for eternity, and you're still a billion-dollar company and nobody cares. Now, here's the worst part of all this. Here's the worst part of all this. First world corporate shills, the stupid ones, the ones that have been brainwashed by corporations, they're gonna come in here and argue with me that, oh, but game developers and people working at Nintendo, they're feeding their families and they need the money to feed their families, and people who pirate video games are taking that away from them. Do you have any idea what it means for somebody to be working so they can feed their family? That does not apply to people who work for Nintendo or high-end video game development companies. That applies to the homeless that are loitering your streets, all the people who can barely make it to the end of the month, who live paycheck by paycheck and work for minimum wage. They work hard, but they can't feed their families. Not some developer who works for Nintendo or some IT person. Don't give me that. You're disrespecting people who have actual problems by defending these corporations and the people working for them. A qualified IT person, if they get fired from Nintendo, they can immediately find another job for another company. But people who are barely making it from paycheck to paycheck, they cannot do that. They can't even afford to leave their abusive jobs. And believe you me, there's plenty of abuse at work, bullying and whatnot. So you don't get to tell me about people feeding their families just because somebody is pirating Super Mario. Get the hell out of here. You have no right to undermine people's problems, to undermine people's hardships over Super Mario. So this is insane. This whole situation is insane. It's insane how corporate shills defend companies as if they are some kind of charity cases. But the actual charity cases, you judge those people. You judge people for being on disability. You judge people for being unable to afford video games. You tell them, work harder, work more hours, get out of here. You have no idea how many hours people were working and they still can't make it from paycheck to paycheck. So what if they pirated a game? Who cares? The majority of the world isn't going to pirate a game. But you don't have the right to brick somebody's system, to brick some kid's system or some poor person's system they bought by saving up their hard-earned money so that they can play a little bit of video games. You don't have this right. And I don't care what corporate shills say. You don't have this right. You're not losing anything. Be real. People have been pirating since the dawn of video games, and these multi-billion corporations are still as rich as ever, if not richer. You're just punishing people who are not even pirating, man. This is insane. Now, of course, I understand that not everybody is on board with what Nintendo is doing right now, and many people are very critical of their practices. But surprisingly enough, we still have people who are somehow trying to defend Nintendo. And if you're one of those people, and if you dare try to defend Nintendo in my comment section, I'm not going to delete your comment. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave your stupidity right there for everybody to see. However, I will not even remotely consider responding to your drivel, because to me, you're nothing but a corporate shill, a person brainwashed into corporate obedience by all these corporations you have over there in the first world. And if you're such a person, all I can tell you is that, buddy, you are exceptionally stupid. That's all there is to it. So what is the entire point of this video? I am very angry and I have a hard time articulating it, but I will give it a shot. The whole point is that you don't need a Switch 2, even though it's going to offer good first-party titles. So just stick to the systems you already own, and if you want to experience a Nintendo system, get yourself a Switch 1. Trust me, for the most part, most people haven't even scratched the surface of what the current generation of consoles have to offer. And we talked about that in my burnout of gaming video that nobody watched. People don't do their research. People don't want to explore gaming. They don't want to find all kinds of interesting and cool games to play. And then they complain that there is nothing to play. Well, it's your own fault. We have so many video games right now for all systems that you could be playing for a lifetime and then some, and still not play all the great games that exist for all platforms. All you need is what is currently out. If gaming just stopped and all companies just stopped making games, there would be so many video games that you haven't played that you will be set for life. So just forget about the Switch 2. Don't give Nintendo your money unless they completely change their policy and nobody ever gets banned. So just play your current systems, enjoy gaming, explore gaming, and let corporations like Nintendo learn their lesson that they cannot control people. Unfortunately, I know this isn't going to happen. People are too stupid. They're going to rush out and buy their Switch 2s regardless. It is what it is. That's why corporations are doing this, because they can. But if you are smart, do try to avoid the Switch 2.